Hey, welcome back to Don't Run with Scissors. I'm Kelly, your favorite Jeep driving lawyer, mom of twins, 4 crazy rescue dogs, and a rescue cat who likes to craft in her spare time. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. It sends me a message. It boosts my serotonin and my self-esteem. I could use both. And if you're a returning friend, you already know the crazy you're in for, so grab your drink, sit on back, and let's have at it. It is Sunday the 24th. I will be honest, I keep losing track of the days. It doesn't help with being sort of not in the office at all last week, um, and the holiday and whatnot. So, is that okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And honestly, strangely, right now, I am okay. Um, as most of you know, we removed life support Thursday, and Paul passed peacefully. I mean, so peacefully we almost missed it, but we spent the day, the kids and I, laughing and playing games and playing music and dancing, and it was everything the three of us needed it to be for him. And my heart hurts. I can't lie. But I'm oddly at peace. But with that peace also comes like this strange things that we don't talk about death. We don't talk about grief. We don't talk about how if you've been a caregiver and on high alert for months, how all of a sudden not having that taking up so much bandwidth, what do you do with that now open bandwidth in your head, right? Um, and that's been really weird to me. Um, so it's been interesting. Oddly enough, I killed my sourdough starter. It started to grow mold. Um, so we're starting over. Poor Dolene and Coco Chanel. Um, we had started a chocolate starter and named her Coco Chanel. And um, what I should have done is put both jars in the refrigerator to kind of slow their fermentation and stuff, and I didn't. And between that and also transferring them to a new jar that maybe not have been perfectly clean, maybe we missed something. So that kind of sucks. Dolene, I'm not sure. So I fed her today, and we'll see how she turns out. We'll see how she goes in the morning. But I've already had 3 people reach out to me and go, "Don't worry, we got you covered." Um, because Bella and I are enjoying um, the whole science experiment, as she calls it. So, yeah, it, it it's 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 weird. I will tell you, I started having panic attacks in the middle of the night the other night, so that's not good. But we're on top of it. Um, we're on top of things. That said, I got my pegboard hung up finally, and I have the hooks, so I'm gonna start reorganizing my DMC so that it's much more useful and not like clumps here and there and everywhere. It's gonna be on a nice pegboard. I got the drawer fronts glued back on. There they are. Are they even? No. Do I care? No. Bella and I cleaned out and sorted out the laundry room today. We got all the laundry done. Um, you know, it hit Bella today a little bit in the fact that like we were folding and sorting a lot of the clothes, and some of them were her dad's, and she said, "What do we do with Dad's clothes?" And I said, well, I can make you a quilt. I can turn some of them into pillows for you so that you always have like a big hug from him. And I said, if that's what you want, we can do that. And she goes, I don't know. And I said, you know what? That's okay. You don't have to know today. I said, we can set them aside. I said, I still have Papas and Honeys. I said, and Papa died before you were born. I said, and I can't bring myself to cut them up and make them into quilt. And I said, but it's important that I have them so that when I am ready, they're there. And I said, so maybe we set aside some of them. We don't have to set aside everything, but maybe we set aside a few things. And when you're ready, you're ready. And if you're never ready, you're never ready. That's okay. My son was, God love him, he was like, well, the palliative care lady had come in the morning, and he said, before I forget, he goes, I don't want to forget not to get the note for work. And she said, okay, well, when do you want to go back to work? And he said, well, if Dad passes away soon, I guess I could go back to work tonight. And we both just kind of looked at him like, what? And we're like, William, I think you should take a couple of days off. Like, just, it's okay to decompress. This has been, a lot. And so he did take Friday off, and he elected to go back on Saturday. And his statement to me was, I can't just sit around and do nothing. He's like, because then I get really, really sad. And I realized, whoo, that boy is more like me than I wanted to admit. Like, I always joke, like, we butt heads a lot. And I always think it's because he's got a lot of his dad in him. And it's not. He's got a lot of me in him. That's why I don't sit down and rest, because my body has learned growing up that you're not safe when you're resting. You have to be productive. Like, when I judge my day, it's not just because it was a great day. It's not just because the sun was shining. I was really productive. Regardless of how I felt, I was really productive. And that's been a key insight. And I also reconnected with a friend from mine from high school whose wife is terminal, breast cancer. And he's like, you're the first person I've been able to talk to. He goes, I'm grieving my wife and she's still here. And I said, yeah, and it sucks. And so it is an honor to be able to talk to him and help him through his journey. It is many people on this journey, including my own therapist, have, and I've said it. I said, I wish there was a handbook. And they're like, maybe it's your time. Maybe you're the one who's to write the handbook, right? And I've been debating it. And the problem is there's no right or wrong way. There's no, and a friend of mine said, she's like, there's no handbook that says, what do you do when you go to your parents' house and they're both dead in their bed? What do you do? There's no handbook for that. There's absolutely no handbook. And then she happens to be Orthodox Jewish, and throwing in the Jewish traditions and customs surrounding death. She's like, I don't know. Do I call the cops? Do I call the rabbi? Who the hell do I call? She's like, I don't even know what to do with this. And I realize part of it is, like when you get divorced, I hand my clients a check sheet. It's more so my female clients, because they're usually ones who have to change their last names. And I have a special checklist for that. But it says, things to do now is to change your will, change your beneficiary life insurance plan, update the deed and the mortgage paperwork on your house, change who's the beneficiary on your savings and checkings accounts, change passwords, like all of that kind of stuff, right? And I realize I don't have one for what to do when I die. Like my kids, half of the reason we know what to, half the reason half of the stuff that got done with Paul got done is because of my profession. And that's a problem, right? And it shouldn't be a mystical, you have to, like, I'm still trying to track down his DD-214s, right? His DD-214, there's not multiple ones, there's just one. That's been a nightmare, right? And I can't have his ashes interned up at the Veterans Cemetery until I can verify that he's a veteran. Now, we know this, but the government can't seem to figure it out. And nobody can talk to me. And part of that's because I'm the ex-wife. And so it's been a journey. And I'm grateful that we had a couple months to prepare for it. But you're never ready. You're never ready. And so, yeah. But I can honestly say I'm okay. I'm okay. But what I'm really grateful is that I have some amazing friends, and that includes a lot of you guys who have kept watching me through the tears, kept sending me messages to check on me. I wish I had them. Stephanie, who's the crafty chick, on Facebook and Instagram. If you don't follow her, please, 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 please do. She's starting a new business, and she sent me 2 sweatshirts, and they came at the perfect time. And one says imperfectly perfect, and the other one says you are, and then it says brave and strong and loved. And it was like getting a long distance hug from her, and Stephanie gives some of the best hugs, so it was absolutely wonderful. The kids and I are going to do this fall, we're going to do a celebration of life. And what we've decided, given who Paul is, none of you really have met Paul. Paul is a big gamer, and Paul actually wrote several Dungeons and Dragons books and several historical miniature games. And so we're going to have a big game day to celebrate him. And one of the things that everybody, I think Amazon should give me a credit, we took dead grandma to the hospital with us to play that day. And the nurse who actually, his side job is to work hospice, I have to say he was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We we were very blessed to have him caring for all of us that day. So he's ordering it. The palliative care nurse practitioner is ordering it. Our pastor who came by is ordering it. If that tells you. We just love it. And Belle has now found out from one of her friends that there's an add-on called Dead Grandpa. So we will be ordering Dead Grandpa to go with it. And so, yeah. So there's several things in the works. But we had some tension with my mom, and that got sorted out real quick with the nurse practitioner who came in and when I asked, hey, is there a way to get her out gracefully and peacefully, that was done. I have since found out that some of the other comments that were said the night that Paul first had his heart attack, William was crying, and my mom was standing outside of the room with Kevin that night, and my friend Kevin, and she said to Kevin, well, he's crying because he feels guilty for not spending time with his dad and all of that, which is absolutely 100% not true. Not true. And in fact, the morning of Paul's heart attacks, William and him had been on the phone together having a long conversation and talking about getting together and gaming and everything like that. My mom charged in on Thursday into the room. First of all, pretended like she didn't have a clue that we were doing this. And then proceeded, first thing out of her mouth was to tell my son she's mad at him because he didn't personally invite her to a band concert last Friday night. Which, by the way, was fantastic. And if you're friends with me on Facebook, you saw the video. So, yeah. And it just sort of... But when it was just the three of us with Paul, there were times where William and I, we danced together, we laughed, we played games, Paul won. It just really and truly. And then there was a time where I went out and I asked Aaron, the nurse, thought maybe he needed a little bit more pain meds. And Aaron gave him the pain meds, and he looks at me and he checks his blood pressure, and because I think he just passed. And I was holding Paul's hand, and I said, yeah, I think so. So he double checked, and he said, yeah. And I knew it, and it was okay. We had hoped that he was going to be able to donate at least tissues to Gift of Life, because he had an infection that was a very serious infection. That was not possible, and that's heartbreaking. But I also know that was his intention, but for he would have. And so my heart goes out to the families who, like, we had thought that there was potentially a liver match. My heart goes out to that family, because now that family is still waiting. And that's gut-wrenching too, on a whole different level. So, we are chilling out this weekend. Bella and I, like I said, William's working. Bella and I are doing some cleaning out and organizing and whatnot around the house. Clearly, I got to start. I'm hoping Dolina's savable. Like, I'm not quite sure, but if not, it's okay. It's flour and water. It's flour and water, and we can restart her. So, yeah. So, with that, I did get an order in from 123 Stitch. A pattern that I had put on my list that I fell in love with came in. I thought, well, okay, I'll go ahead and order the threads. But I am missing, I need to get 2 Gentle Arts Old Red Paint. 2 threads, 2 skeins of that. But I did actually order the overdyes, which we all know I hardly ever do. Usually I'll just stitch it in DMC. Although I'm really liking this oatmeal, because it's like shaded. You can't, I don't know if you can. How it's white and then like almost an ecru. I mean, it's just, I'm glad I went ahead and ordered it. And then Uniform Blue, I don't know, I probably could have gotten away with the DMC. Mustard seed is such a weird color, right? Like, it's, I don't know. It is variegated. It is, I mean, it's pretty. It's kind of weird. Anyways, so I'll have to still get the old red paint. But I got the Banner of Benevolence from Silver Creek Sampler. And it says, all people have value, beliefs are personal, rights are universal, peace begins with a smile, there is beauty and strength in diversity, the strength of community lies within the unity of its neighbors, freedom exists only if it applies to everyone, the world is full of friends we have yet to meet, our differences make us beautiful, choose to be curious, not judgmental, we all strive to be better human beings, kindness is free, and love will always win. And I just think it's really, it's going to be beautiful up on my patriotic wall when I finally get off my ass and finish my patriotic wall. Okay, when I start my patriotic wall, whatever. Um, so that will go in the pattern pile of patriotic patterns to stitch. Um, Tomorrow here in the United States is Memorial Day. That is the day that we honor our fallen soldiers, those that have given everything basically for our freedoms. So I am hopefully going to find the project bag with my, what is it? I cannot remember the pattern name. Stephanie and I started it. Let me see if I can't. It is. What the heck is it called? It is called, well, we may never know. I don't want to say that it was called The Unknown Soldier. I think Stephanie finished it already. I Ideally I'd FFO my 4th of July rules, but I don't know how I quite want to finish it. I don't have a really pretty board for it yet. I guess ultimately it doesn't matter what the pattern is, because if you can't find it the envelope tomorrow, that it is my goal to work on that, as well as several other household things and some paperwork for the office. Well, okay, I guess we don't know what it is. I'm trying to think. I couldn't even tell you who it's by. I think it's by Finally a Farm Girl, or maybe Finally a Farm Girl is the one who is. And everybody, you're probably shouting at me, you already know the pattern I'm thinking of. Or that, I mean, I started it. Like, I've started it. It's not like I haven't started it. It's, oh, it's gonna irritate me. I know. I don't know. When I find it in my pile, my goal is to work on it tomorrow. So, but what did I work on? I actually did work on a few things. One, I actually worked on 2 main projects. One is Pandemic by Long Dog Sampler, My son folded it for me. He folded it inside out, which is fine. It's fine. So we are officially past 50% on the tan part. So if I hung it up right, it would be even better, right? Okay, so I have been working through here, but I did go in and add in some blue as well up in the corner here. So she's looking good. So I mean, it took me 6 years to get to 50%, or 5.5 years to get to 50%. The next 50% has to happen in the next 6.5 months to meet my goal. That said, we're on a roll, so I think we're good. Atlas says we're on track. The other one that I worked on, partly because, so I got the new red thread, I got the correct red thread, so I had to frog a bunch, and then I put a bunch in. So we are also now officially over 50% on Quaker Flag by the Vivsters. Oh, I love her. So the goal, so we are on track to have this completely done by Labor Day. So those were my two big ones that I worked on. But today I pulled out one that we haven't seen in a while, but I've been really wanting to work on her. And she's kind of patriotic, so I'm going to let... I did not... So Survivor is finished. Aubrey won. And so I'm trying to get the last of my Survivor stitching. I need to put in a bit more in my menorah. But I just haven't... I know that there's... I think part of it is because I know there's a mistake in there, and I don't know where the mistake is. And I do not have the bandwidth to find the mistake. So I need to adjust it a bit to just accommodate with the mistake. So but I have been really wanting to work on Lady Justice by Mirabilia. I am stitching this on 32 count Lugana, Picture This Plus, in the colorway Heroic, which seems to be my favorite fabric that I keep buying. But that's okay, because she's gorgeous. I am almost done with the bottom of her dress. So then I will just have her big old butt bow. And then I still have a bit to work on for her sword and the scales. And then obviously she needs a head. She needs a head. But I am absolutely just loving her. When she is done, I will move on. I have not decided which one I'm going to do. If I'm going to start Lady of the Flag, Queen of Peace, or Queen of Freedom, or two of them that I have started to design it and map out. We'll see. We'll see. So that is all of my stitching. That is all of my haul. We have talked about my stitchy kindness. As of right now, because Quaker Flag is considered a BAP and it's multi-pages, I've actually finished 4 pages of Quaker Flag. And then with gluing the drawer fronts on and decluttering the laundry room, I have to color them in, but we're the first row of the second page of Jeeps done in our Jeeps So I think that puts me at, well, let's see. We were at 63. We're at 72 finishes since October 1. And we have till October 23rd of this year. So a year and 23 days. Am I like sad about going a year and 23 days? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And as soon as I get the hooks up and the rest of the floss is done, that will be another finish on there. I've got some other things that are going to be easier to handle than others. So with that said, that's really all that's going on, and I'm okay with that. We're just kind of, again, taking it one day at a time. And as I've said to the kids, there's no right or wrong way, unless the only wrong way right now to handle your grief is if you're being a shitty person or you're being shitty to somebody else. And that's the only thing that's not acceptable. Anything else right now is acceptable. You don't get to be a shitty person. And that includes being a shitty person to yourself. So, I'm taking advantage of the moments to laugh and the moments to regroup and let my brain rest. And in order for my brain to rest, I have to have a house that isn't in chaos. So sorting through the laundry, folding the laundry, reorganizing things. We mopped the floor of the laundry room and stuff. And I know that sounds really weird, but now I have one less space that's filled with chaos, right? I get to move forward a little bit further. And that's a good thing. So we're going to keep pushing forward. I know I have court a couple days this week and some other things that have got to get out and some phone calls that got to get made. The cards have got to go in. Linda's Brakes decided to, of all the times right now, to need new pads and rotors and stuff. So there's all of that. I mean, it's just, it's life, right? And I'm grateful that at the end of the day, we're going to be okay. It's going to be totally different how we pictured it 6 months ago. It's going to be totally different than how we pictured it 2 weeks ago. But we're going to be okay. So, and it's funny because after Paul passed, we walked downstairs. We took the elevator down to the main floor to leave after, we were okay. And we walked out, and they swear they're at the hospital like every Thursday. I have never seen them there before. Never. And all of the times we have been there. We walked out, and there was the emotional support dogs, the therapy dogs. And this big, giant Bernice. She's absolutely gorgeous. She came, and she just let me love on her, and she sat on my feet. And one of the weird things is none of my big dogs really do. Well, Lizzie sometimes will do that. But Keegan, our old pit that we lost several years ago, very unexpectedly, that is ironically still my phone screensaver, that was her big thing that she would do. She'd come and sit on my feet. And it was just one of those things like, I knew Paul was okay. It was one of those signs like, okay, he sent it. He sent that to me. He sent that to the kids. right? That was his sign to us that he's okay. And I don't know if you believe in signs. I do. Because I know that every year since my grandfather has passed, when I have been struggling, and I've talked about this before, I always seem to find a dried bunch of hydrangeas, like just randomly, in a place where there's no hydrangea bushes or anything, like literally just in the middle of a side piece of sidewalk, or um, last year it was on the side of the road kind of thing when I stopped for the light. And I was like, okay. Um, so I am a big believer in signs from our loved ones. And so I just, in my heart, I know that was him. And he, he knew, like, and so I'm grateful. Um, so again, I know I'm going to be okay. I know the kids are going to be okay. Um, it's just going to be different. And different's okay. So, with that said, it's almost midnight here. I am going to take my happy little butt behind the bed. But remember, you are beautiful, and you are smart. You are strong and brave, and you are loved. You are needed, and you are wanted. And more importantly than anything, you matter. So I am sending all my love to everybody. I gotta thank you enough for all you have gifted me and all of the support. So if there's anything I can do to return that favor, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I will talk to you all later.